Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not.
And 2, and 3, and 4, and crap, Max, call 911!
The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm lighted woods below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here.
He growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh the noise.
And the noise.
Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they feast and feast, they feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beefs, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then, they'd do something he liked the least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with the Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand to hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing and sing and sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Then he got an idea, an awful idea.
I have a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick.
With a coat and a hat, I look just like St. Nick. Like 7 feet. Excellent. Ooh. What do you think, Max? What do you mean you don't like the fedora? Fine. But I thought it was unique. I look just like the old fat man. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll just have to make one.
So he called his dog Max.
Oh, Max!
Then he loaded his bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up to old Max. Then the Grinch said, Giddy up! And the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All the windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care when he came to the first little house on the square. This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy claws hissed. And then he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out the fireplace flue. Where the little Who stockings all hung in a row, these stockings, he grinned, are the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant.
No. Disgusting.
Around the whole room, He took every present.
Ah, what a sweet little present. Belly flop!
Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with the glee.
Now I must steal the tree. Oh yeah.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. Ah! He turned around fast.
What are you?
And saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know the old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie and he thought about it quick.
Well, you see, my sweet little tot,
The fake Santa Claus lied.
there's a light on this tree that won't light up on one side. So I'll take it home to my workshop, my dear, and fix it up there, and then bring it back here. Rhyme.
But all the lights are on.
Well, there's a reasonable explanation. You're asleep. It isn't real. You're dreaming. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Uh-oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ow! Yeah? What? That wasn't good enough for you?
And his fib fooled
Yeah.
the child. Then he patted her head. He
Take
got
it.
her a drink and then sent her to
Go.
bed.
Get.
When Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log in their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire, and the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still in bed, all the Who's still a snooze. Then he packed up his sled, packed it up in their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings, and the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's. He was Grinchiously humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will cry, boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear.
What is that noise?
And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in a low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound was merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, were singing without presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet, ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then, well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Max. What is happening? Christmas isn't about the toys and the presents, the feast or the noise. I gotta give the presents back to the Who's. I'm coming, Whoville!
And what happened then, well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load to the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he, himself, carved the roast beast.
Thank you for watching Storytime. We have new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. If you want to watch a previous video, click here. And if you want to subscribe, click here. I suggest subscribe.